charge of anti-Semitism is used as a tool to silence dissent?
Well, actually, again, that's not a secret. Abba Eban, one of maybe Israel's leading statesmen, he wrote an article about it, and it must have been 30 years ago in Congress Weekly, I think, the Journal of the American Jewish Congress, in which he instructed American Jews on their duties. And basically what he said is that it's your task to show that critics of Zionism, by that he meant critics of the policy of the State of Israel, there's no such thing. So critics of the policy of the State of Israel, your task is to show that they are either anti-Semites or self-hating Jews, Jews with a neurosis. And that eliminates 100% of criticism. On the second category, he actually named two people, me, of course, and I.F. Stone. We're the neurotic, self-hating Jews. What other reason could you have for criticizing Israeli policies? And that's essentially the point. He was pretty frank. He was unusually frank about it. So we have to stop criticism. We have the weapon of anti-Semitism. We have the weapon of the Holocaust. We have Jewish self-hatred. That makes it 100%. Now, Abba Eban, and in fact every Israeli, knows the Bible, and they know where this comes from. It comes from the Book of Kings, where the King Ahab, who was like the epitome of evil in the Bible, calls the prophet Elijah to him and denounces him, and he asks Elijah, "Why are you a hater of Israel?" Meaning he condemns the acts of the evil king. Well, that's the origin of the notion Jewish self-hatred. And in fact, it's also the origin of the notion anti-Americanism. The idea is if you criticize the state, you must hate the people, the culture, the society, and so on. It's a deeply totalitarian concept. You can understand it in the old Soviet Union, and you can understand it in King Ahab. It's more interesting when you get it in Abba Eban, or by now almost universally. If this Jewish critic of Israel must be Jewish self-hatred, like Elijah. For the rest, anti-Semitism. What can you expect of the Goyim?
A popular theory, still on self-hatred, Jewish self-hatred, a lot of Jewish scholars I've seen argue that this thing called Jewish self-hatred and its internalization of majority society's hostility to Jews. What do you make of that?
You live in the United States. Is this a society where there's hostility to Jews? Actually, it was. Like, I grew up as the only Jewish kid in an Irish and German Catholic neighborhood, and it was not fun on the streets. It was passionately anti-Semitic and also pro-Nazi. This is the 30s. By the time I got to Harvard in around 1950, you could cut the anti-Semitism with a knife. In fact, one of the reasons MIT, where we are now, became a great university is because people like, say, Norbert Wiener and others couldn't get jobs at Harvard, so they came to the engineering school down the street. There was anti-Semitism. I mean, nothing like it, not horrendous, but it was there. By the 1950s, it basically disappeared. By now, you have to have a magnifying glass to find it. The Anti-Defamation League works overtime to try to find anti-Semitism. So if this is internalized attitudes towards Jews, it would be philo-Semitism, which is a very strong element in American culture, incidentally also English culture. I mean, it's another technique of the kind that you'd expect in a totalitarian culture to try to undercut criticism.
Okay. What about the ADL? Could you